book lovers, I wanted to do another video where I'm tackling my series because, as you know, I have so many series that are unfinished and I'm not exactly sure yet what series I'm going to tackle in this video. I have Imagine Me, which is the last Shatter Me book in the Shatter Me series. This is on my monthly TBR for June? No, we have July. It's on my monthly TBR for July, so I'm thinking about that. And then maybe Play Along by Liz Tomford, which just came out and is part of the Windy City series. But the one that I want to start with, and I feel like this is such a shocker because I started the series last week, and the series has 6 books. And when I started it, I didn't even know if the series was for me because we're talking dark romance here, and dark romance is not really my favorite. And holy shit, when I started the first book, like, they are unhinged and very, very different from contemporary romances. I mean, it was my first dark romance, but this one was way darker than some of the ones that I've read in the past. But the thing is, it was so entertaining and so bingeable, and also there was a couple mentioned and I wanted to read that couple so damn much. So I looked up what book they have, and of course it was the last book. So I was like, damn it. But I also didn't want to skip any, so I was like, am I gonna read the whole series then? And I was like, yeah, I can do that. I read all the other 5 books. I'm gonna read the final book together now, which I'm so excited. Let me lift the curtain because I know you've been sitting there like, Viv, what is the book series called? And I'm gonna tell you. It's the Legacy of God series by Rena Kent, and wow, that one really sneaked up on me. I didn't expect to love it as much as I do. And it's also my first Rena Kent series, but I'm not really here to talk about the whole series. I'm here because we're gonna start the final book, which is God of War, and holy hell. Like, since they were mentioned in the first book, the first few sentences about this couple, I was like, give me their book. And I am scared to be let down by this. Like, I'm still not really a dark romance girly, so I'm not really expecting like a 5-star read because I think I will love them so much. It's just that it's really much more entertaining. Like, these are not necessarily 5-star reads for me. They're just so good and bingeable and I love them. It's just really that I can't really get over some of the things they do in here, and that's okay. But I also read that this one wasn't as dark as the other ones, which I'm really surprised by, since the guy in here seems like one of the darkest in the series. But I am so here for it. So let's start this together. I already read the first chapter because I couldn't wait. And let's see. I'm like a huge fan of Ava as well as Eli. I don't know how you would say his name. In my mind, I always say Eli, but I think it's because I pronounce them in a German way. So I was just so excited about reading the final book in the Legacy of God series that I didn't even say what it was about. But let me clue you guys in. Obviously, all these books will be read spoiler-free, but at least you should know what the plot is about, because otherwise also my next comments don't make any sense. So Ava had a crush on Eli when she was quite young, but he shut it down because he's a bit older and it was just not happening back then. But since then, they kind of always had like a, let's say, hate relationship. And you could just really read the tension between these two, but they would also just do everything possible to make the life of the other person harder. And then you basically see how Ava wakes up in the book, and she only remembers that she had a car crash. But when she wakes up, they tell her that she's actually married to Eli. And she doesn't know how this happened or why, because she can't really remember anything from the last years. And it's just such an interesting plot. And I also want to say that Ava deals with mental health issues. I think it was alluded to in the other books. But yeah, I think that's also everything I knew when I went into the book. Enjoy the rest of the video. How come that we get flashbacks and I get more confused by them? Like, they don't lift anything. I'm still in the dark. And like, that flashback just then? What do you mean? Oh my goodness. I do have an idea what that memory could have been. I don't know. That's the only explanation I can come up with right now. But anyway, I'm just confused. This is so good. One of the best quotes so far. So he sees another guy flirting with Ava. She's a beautiful rose with mesmerizing energy that intoxicates the flies circling her. But like all roses, her stem is crowded with thorns. It's me. I'm the thorns. I love this. We're so in the dark about so many things, and every other hint doesn't really give me a bigger picture. I mean, yes, kind of, but maybe also just not really a picture I like. I feel like that a lot of her close people are lying to Ava, and I just don't like it. But we'll see. Eli almost seemed more extreme in the other books towards Ava than in his own book, and that's just weird. So I finished God of War this morning and just took a little bit of time to reflect on the book. And I'm so sad that I didn't love it as much as I thought I would. Like, my expectations were really high, and I think I would probably give it like a 3.5 star. I feel like this book is not really worth being the last, not only of the Legacy of God series, but of the whole Rena verse, as she said, or at least what I know. And I'm saying that as someone who hasn't even read all the other books. And also it feels so unfinished because Remy didn't get a book. He was such a great character, and I for sure thought that he would get a book, and I was shocked when I found out that there's no book for him. So I hate that. But really, this book felt so different from the rest of the series. The other books all take place basically at the same time, and you know, they're all in university. Like, that is the environment, that's where they all meet and where they do their stuff. And Ili already wasn't really part of that group since he is a lot older, but Ava was. I hated that we jumped ahead in time and kind of missed out on so many things, but I feel like I could have been on board if you would have used that time, do like events that we wouldn't have seen otherwise. We have all the couples being happy. Why not have like one of them getting married, for example, and have that one event that we follow along, or where our characters all go to and we all have them together? And then I also feel like that Ava and Eli just didn't feel like the same people than in the other books, especially since Eli was compared to Landon and Killian so often. And yes, there were times where he was portrayed like that. I don't know, like, I didn't like the story, how it was told, how we were in the dark the whole time. I feel like we could have known way sooner and then understood the actions of certain characters better, because since I was so much in the dark, I really didn't feel comfortable with a lot of things they did, and I was just confused. And I was like, where's the point where I start swooning? I mean, yes, this is dark romance, and I realized that from the first book that it's not like a normal romance, but there were still parts where I was like, oh, you know, like, yes, this is more obsession than love, but it's still cute because that does exist in fictional books. But I didn't really feel it until maybe the very, very end. And also with Ava's condition, it was almost like I didn't know what was real, what wasn't. I don't know, like, I didn't really enjoy this whole journey. I feel like the more I talk about it, I don't like it. Another thing that I really hated is that they were so bad at communicating and so awful. I feel like they almost had non-honest conversations, and that everything that kind of got revealed about each other's feelings and stuff had to come from the outside, and someone else had to tell them stuff or show them stuff. I hate when the relationship only really progresses because other people get involved, and their dynamic was at some point also just really annoying because it was just the same over and over again. And also it kind of suited Ava's character because she's a lot younger, but Eli is so much older, so I felt like this was a little bit immature from time to time. With the other characters, I felt like this was all fitting because, you know, they're in university, they're, you know, young and stupid. But if you wanted to make this book more mature, then you also need to make the characters a bit more mature, I feel like, and that didn't really happen. So I started a new book. We're now reading Play Along by Liz Tomford, and this is the latest book in the Windy City series. The Windy City series is like one of my absolute favorites, and I'm actually, let me see, I'm quite a bit into the book already. I'm like 40% into the book, and like the first few chapters I like really slowly eased myself into the book. And it was not that the book was bad or anything. It's just after God of War and like the whole Legacy of God series, because I read that series within a week. So I was like, how will I go into a contemporary romance where it's not normal that the guy will literally kill for you or will be like so toxically obsessed with you? I think the Legacy of God series just kind of gave me a little book hangover, and you know, I had to like give myself a few days to get into the next book, which isn't bad because now that I like recovered from my book hangover, guys, I am obsessed with this. This is so good. This is definitely 5-star potential. I can't put this down. Isaiah. Let's just say it's Isaiah. Don't really know how you would pronounce that name. Isaiah is the brother of Kai, who was the main character in the other book, and Kennedy is the athletic trainer from the baseball team. Isaiah had a thing for Kennedy for years, but she was engaged to someone else, so he always like flirted with her, but he never really pursued her in a more serious way. But Kenny actually got out of her engagement and is single now, so since then Isaiah's like serious about getting like at least a shot with Kenny. And when he is in Vegas with his best friends from the team and they're doing like a little bonding trip before the season starts, he actually meets Kenny there, who's there for a bachelorette party, and they get drunk. And what else do you do in Vegas when you're drunk? They got married. And since Kenny could lose her job if she would like fool around with someone from the team, they pretend it's a real marriage, so they have to stay married for that, and it's basically marriage of convenience. And guys, you know that is one of my favorite tropes, so I absolutely love this. And one of the other plots is, which it is so good, so Kenny isn't really an intimate person. She never really experienced intimacy. She had like a very cold childhood, so she doesn't really feel comfortable with touch, but she trusts Isaiah and she wants him to teach her like how to be comfortable, how to touch in a more intimate way, like when you would date. And it's just so good. I really love the whole friendship group, the found family. They also have dinner every Sunday, which they call family dinner, and it's their friend group, and they have kids there now, and it's just so wholesome. Like this whole book so far has just been like a really warm hug. I think Isaiah is also a bit different from the rest of the guys because he's more like the goofy kind of guy and always wants to make everyone happy around him. And Kenny's like that type A perfectionist, can kind of come off as a bit more cold, and that is my favorite type of female character mostly. So I feel like this book has been written for me and I just absolutely love it. I want to say, guys, that I don't know anything about baseball. It's not really a sports here in Germany, so I've never seen it. I don't know about the rules, and I don't really understand anything when they talk about baseball here. I don't understand what these positions are. I kind of know that, you know, like there's someone who throws a ball, then someone else who has the baseball bat and punches the ball and punches the ball, or whatever you would call it, and then they run. But for example, they say that Kai, I don't even know what his position is, but the brother, he doesn't have to play like every round or every game. I don't really understand that, and I kind of want to get into baseball now. Like that happens when I read. I am at the 70% mark with Play Along, and I'm still having such a great time. I really love this book. I especially love Isaiah, and I think it's so easy to fly through this book. I love all the side characters, the found family. I just love this world. I think the only two little complaints that I have is one, that I feel like the storyline, what sort of keeps them from like committing 100%, is a bit similar to the one in the third book. So her job is kind of shitty, not really what she's doing, but the way she gets treated by her boss basically. And therefore she applied somewhere else, and she's about to interview for the job, and that job would mean that she would have to move across the country. So it kind of gives a similar vibe that, you know, it's temporary. They both know that they have like an end date, and then she would move away. I just hope that it will not play out the way it did in the third book. And the other thing that I don't really love is that I think Kenny is such a great and interesting character. She didn't really learn how to laugh, so of course for her it would be difficult to get close to someone, and I kind of wish that we would go more into that and how she's scared of like commitment and being close and like trusting herself, and if she can do that, and not just doubting everything Isaiah says. And I get that that is like part of her character and like a side effect of how she grew up, that she has a hard time like trusting those words. I don't know, just give me more layers than just her doubting his words the whole time when he is so freaking incredible with his communication. I finished Play Along by Liz Tomford, and this is such a good book, guys. This whole series in general, just read it. It is one of my favorites. I loved every single book in the series, but I know that some didn't love the first one. So if you're one of the people who didn't love the first one, just try the rest out of the series, because Liz Tomford knows how to write men. Wow. And when we talk about my critique from last night, the one where I talked about like that it kind of felt similar to the third book, it did play out differently in this one, which I really do appreciate. It happened like right after I updated you guys. Isaiah is just such a great guy. I absolutely loved reading his journey, and the epilogue was also really beautiful. I think that a lot of people would really like this book. Liz Tomford is just really great, as I said, at writing men, but also having a full cast of amazing side characters that really bring something to the story. And I love the found family so much. Like, the Sunday family dinners are one of my favorite scenes. I feel like there is a story between Monty and Reese, and I want their book. So can we please all ask Liz Tomford to write Monty's and Reese's story? Overall, I gave this 4.75, and I know you're probably all screaming, why didn't I just give it a 5-star? And I can't really tell you. I feel like it's just, like, it just didn't quite give me the 5-star feeling. I do think that because I just went onto like this whole dark romance spree, that I wasn't really ready for like a contemporary romance, and I should have read something in between, because even now I don't really crave another romance. I think like besides me just not being in the right mood to read this, the only critique that I kind of had is that I would have wished more to go into Kenny's character and like her struggles with intimacy. Don't get me wrong, obviously that was part of her journey, but I just kind of wish we would have gotten more of that and less of the whole I'm blaming why this can't work on the whole like this is like a fake marriage, or we're just pretending, or doubting everything Isaiah says. I just wish we would have gotten a bit deeper with her character. It's still an amazing book, and I think Liz Tomford kind of worms her in with like my top favorite authors with this series. Honestly, I don't really know what to read after this one. As I said, I feel like I need to read something different. I don't even know what I'm in the mood for. So maybe I will start like the last Chatami book next, since that is different and I think like more action-packed, and maybe that's the direction I need to go now. I started my third book for this vlog. This book we will finish the Chatami series, and I read the first 100 pages, and I think this book will be bittersweet because I always have a very hard time saying goodbye to the characters, and there are so many high expectations on a last book, and especially this one, because the one before the 5th book was a 5-star read and I really loved that one. And this one, I do really like it. I don't know yet if it will be a 5-star read, because the main thing that I'm not obsessed with, or that I'm actually quite sad about, is that so far I don't like the POVs she chose for this book. Obviously not going to tell you anything about the plot because I don't want to spoil the series. Besides that, I really enjoy my time in here. I think this is so action-packed. We need like all the answers, and I'm just excited to get all of that in this book. I just hope that, I think in terms of the romance, since, you know, this is our 6th book and there happened a lot of romance, that I feel like it won't be really big in here. And I kind of get it, but I still hope that it will kind of play a part in here. So that's really all I have to say for the first like 100 pages. It is so quick to read. Like, I'll really enjoy her writing style.
Hey friends, I unfortunately got sick and I don't really feel like being on camera, but I really wanted to update you guys. So I'm still reading Chatami. Oh no, sorry. Imagine Me, but the Chatami series, the last book. And I'm almost on page 200. And I am loving where the story, I think, goes. Like, we kind of just got a new plot line and I'm really loving the change. You know, we have 6 books and of course overall we have like one storyline that we follow, but Tahereh Mafi is really good at always changing up the setting. I just really enjoy Also, the pacing about us finding out things, I think it's just very well constructed is what I want to say, and I am super excited. And I thought before we go into like the second part of the book and the last half of this whole series, I wanted to give you guys a quick update.
So it's actually been a while since I finished this, and in my last clips you saw that I got really sick while reading this, so I couldn't update you immediately. But this also means that I really thought about this for a while to give you my final thoughts. And I mean, this is the last book in the whole series, and I know that the Shatter Me series in general is so widely loved, and I think it deserves that love because it's really good. I mean, this is also a YA series, so for sure if I had read this when I was younger I would have loved it even more, but overall it is a fantastic series, and this was a really good end to the series. Was it my perfect end? No, but that's because I think that one POV was missing in here, and also like the final end was somehow very abrupt. I couldn't believe that that was the final page. I was like, what? But like, give me more. And I think she did give us more with the last novella, Believe Me, and I read that as well. The first epilogue chapter is basically the start of the novella, and I'm just going to talk about both of them together because they make the end kind of perfect. But just that, I feel like I would have missed something, not just the POV, but just to have everything wrapped up, because in a longer series like that, you know, you want maybe a longer epilogue, or just in general, like, give us all the happy endings, give us all that's gonna happen in the future, near future, further future, you know, because we're saying goodbye to characters that we've loved for so long. And I love that this book was super action-packed and stuff was happening, and we got a lot of answers, but you know, I then also kind of want the calm after the storm, to see, oh, everyone is happy now, and you know, everything we've been waiting for so long. I want to see that as well. And we didn't really get that in here, but we did get that in the novella, so I love that. And I'm just very glad that I finished the series. It was one of my goals for this year. And just overall, to have finished a longer series feels just very accomplished. So I think also this vlog was, in general, very successful, because I finished 2 series, the Legacy of God series and then the Shatter Me series, but I also got totally caught up with all the releases that is in the Windy City series by Liz Tomford, because I don't know when we're gonna get the last book actually, but there are no other books out there, so Play Along is the latest release, so I'm also caught up with that series. So I think with my second part of finishing up all my series, I did very well, and I love this video series because it gives me a chance to focus on my series that I want to anyway, but I also love all the series I'm in the middle of, so I'm definitely gonna do a part 3. I hope you like this as well. Give this video a like and also subscribe for more bookish content, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!